everyone, and welcome to my art session for the Woman Unleashed retreat in the summer of 2022. I am so happy and honored and joyful that I am back with you all. I can't wait to get started. So as we just discussed with Amber, for my session today, I would like us to work with the concept of grounding. And I came to the point of grounding really because there is so much going on in the world right now. So much has been happening that has been pretty stressful for many of us, quite challenging, and I think very overwhelming for, well, I can only speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure that many of us are in the same scenario, in the same boat. And something that I find really can help me with just dealing with the overwhelm, and when I get too much to, let's say, anxious about the future or worry about whatever has happened in the past or what's happening in the now, I find that trying to ground into the moment, into the present, here and now, helpful to help me work through or come back to myself, because I find for myself that during times of turmoil around the world, everywhere, that I can get up in my head a lot, stay very anxious about the future, worried about whatever is happening in other parts of the world in the now. And as much as that is understandable, it doesn't tend to help me function very well. So I am, become overwhelmed by it all and become just don't sleep well. It has impact on me. And I always think, it's most important for us that even in hard times that we remain functional. So it's totally unhelpful if I also sort of become incapacitated by the terrible suffering that is around us. Of course, understandable to grieve and mourn, but if it's so all-encompassing, which it can be for me, then I become a liability or a problem on top of the problems. So for me, it's really important to try and continue to ground myself into the now and sort of call myself back into myself, into the moment, and try and stay as sane and healthy as I can so that I can just sort of be positive and contribute to the things that I can control, because the future and things that are happening in other countries, I can't control right now. So I like to try and focus on the things I can control as much as I can, while also obviously empathizing with my feelings and whatever is going on for me when I'm experiencing sadness, but not to dwell on it and become incapacitated by it, because then I just find it problematic. So that's how I kind of came to the point of wanting to do a bit on grounding today. And as part of a grounding session, I thought we'd paint a beautiful, colorful elephant. So this is the design here. My idea is to look how I love the face. It's so sweet and kind. I haven't really done an elephant with an actual body in it, so I'm really excited to share this with you today, because most of my elephants are either whimsical and non-realistic, or I've done kind of a close-up of the heads. And today we're also including the body, and I thought he or she is standing so cutely, like with the legs together. I thought it came out really nicely, the design. So the reason why I want to include the elephant is because I find that one of the most grounding animals out there. So I thought it could be sort of a companion or a kind of an animal that can support us with our own grounding processes. You can perhaps hang him around your house, him or her, and remember, as you see the elephant, to sort of take a couple of deep breaths and ground into the moment, and remember to so just focus on the things you can control and contribute as best you can to the things you can control, basically. So that is the idea behind the design. Now, for those of you who feel a little bit intimidated by drawing, I have included the traceable in the PDF, so you could trace this design if you prefer not to hand draw it, but I'll also show you how you can draw it by hand. Then when we paint, the painting process, because we're time limited on the retreat, the painting process will be time-lapsed. Okay, so a little bit about the supplies that I'll be using. So I'll be mostly using watercolor paints with perhaps a little bit of acrylics here and there and some color pencils as well as Posca pens. So I thought I was just going to say watercolor paints, and of course, no. I'm a mixed media artist and I always use more. So here are some, these are acrylic markers like Posca, or I also have recently found a different brand called Artistro. White and black are helpful. And then I might use a couple of color pencils that are non-water soluble. For me, it's okay if they're not non-water soluble, just know that they are. And then maybe a tinge is not a word, is it? A tad of this liquid acrylics inks, or some actual white acrylics, not quite sure yet. Depends on how, if I need white, if I need to lighten some stuff up that I do. And so I'm working with watercolor paints. This is the Schminke set brand. You don't need these as such. You can use any other brand. This is one of my favorite brands because it has very vibrant colors, but you can use any brand that you have available. Color scheme wise, I would like to work with some oranges, yellows, pinks, reds, and some blues, which is formally kind of a triadic-ish. I'm going to really be working with more with blue, green, magenta, and yellowy orange, which is still kind of a triad. So that is actually, for those of you who don't know, a fairly, let's say, lively, energetic color scheme, and can actually overwhelm a little bit, but that's why I will be bringing in the blues to really calm it down. So the blues are a cool, calm tone, and the oranges and the pinks and the yellows will be more warm and a bit more vibrant. But I'm going to try and balance it so that it's, I don't know, I want grounding and calmness in the elephant, but I also wanted there to be a bit of, I mean, I'm a very colourful artist. So for those of you who don't know my work, a lot of my work is I love vibrant colour, so it's hard for me to just do a painting with only, let's say, in blues. I can do it, but don't feel called to do that right now. But I wanted to bring in the blues, and I'll mix the blue in with a little bit of the pinks, perhaps. So I'm going to bring a bit of purple in there, so it has a combination of a calming effect as well as a little bit of liveliness and brightness, because that's the other thing I really want to bring to the world, everyone. Joy and brightness and happiness, you know. Feel so, sad and overwhelmed by so many of the pain and suffering that is out there. So I feel like bringing in a grounding and a brightness can maybe, do something at least for my soul, and perhaps it's soothing for yours as well. So those are the colors that I'll be working in, but if you feel called to use any other colors, then you use those colors. You know, if you're really liking the idea of the grounding and the calming effect, then perhaps working in soft blues, greys and purples or something would be really great. Or if you just want vibrancy and liveliness, then, bright oranges and bright pinks and reds or something will be very kind of loud and vibrant. And, do what calls you. And if you're not familiar with color schemes so much, I recommend you could get a color wheel and get acquainted. Particularly these are really great. Get acquainted with the different kinds of color schemes on here, and you can read up more on that. And I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but my free gift today as well, which I may say, sorry, at the end as well. But basically, we're running a free taster week on everything color. It's called Kaleidoscope, and you're invited to come to the color party, where we're doing super fun things like we're looking at inspiring people and beings around the world, and it's meant to be an uplifting course full of color, and we're going in depth about color theory on the course. But we're running a taster for that, so if you want to learn more about color, then do please come to that as well. But I think I mentioned this at the end as well. Okay, now, so before we start painting, let's draw a design like this freehand. Okay, so I'm just drawing this on a kind of a piece of like really thin sketchbook paper. The way I draw elephants, you can use a reference photo. There's loads of reference photos you can refer to, or you can just follow my design. Elephants are not as hard as they might seem. So I've drawn elephants for years, and they do seem to have a kind of a good sort of predictable kind of, or I should say, is it divisible, like where you can really kind of divide the segments up into large chunks. So whenever I draw anything, I tend to start with sort of dividing things up in large chunks first, and then I bring the details in later. So this would be the start of the head for me. So note how it's kind of, I don't know, it has a little, is it an octagon? No, 1, 2, 3, and then it goes in 4. This. It's almost like a cow now. You look, a cow. It's not a cow. We're not doing a cow. I have done a cow. I love cows. I love all animals. Now, okay, I say that. I don't really like insects that much, apart from butterflies and bumblebees, and some spiders, like jumping spiders. But, sorry. I love all animals, but apart from the stingy, scary ones. Like, I don't mind sharks, but... Sorry, I don't know. You didn't want to know that about me. Don't like snakes. So, that's the last thing I'll say. Okay, and then, right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, octo? No, that's 8, so whatever the 5 is, can't remember. Square shape, and then down here, same story. Okay, starting point. Ears, straight away, the ears are very cool because you don't, they don't have, you can have, we're doing a large-eared elephant. You have a couple of types of elephants in the world. Oh, and make it go like that. Oh, mine is a little less wide. This piece of paper is not as the same shape as the other one, so this is slightly narrower, but it doesn't matter. So you can make both ears are often squiggly. There's no symmetry usually to them, so that's okay. And the large-eared elephants can be found in Africa, as I understand it, and then you have short-eared, smaller-eared ones, and they're in India and Asia. Alright, so ears, head, done. Then trunk. The trunk, you can do a trunk that goes curly, or you could have it sort of hang. So I have one that sort of hangs gently with a slight curve to the left here. Okay, is it still visible? Make it darker again. Sketch, because I'm doing graphite, is maybe not so easy to pick up. Okay, then we're doing the legs and the back legs. So the legs from the front kind of curve in. You can stylize this or do it more, you know, super realistic. If you're gonna look at an image of an elephant, they'll have a slight pose. You know, it might pose slightly differently, whatever. Mine are sort of simplistic. Okay, right there. So I have a little. They do have little lumps, you know, like little kind of bony joint lumps and stuff. And then the feet, I like to do like these rounded, because the feet of elephants are so brilliant. You know, their big toes, they're like so cute. And then you can kind of do a shape like this. On the other one, the trunk is actually a little bit more in the way of that line in the middle of the legs, so let's just cover that up. Or you can just fix the legs in a different way. But look, this is good. Nice. So you get that, they get that circular flat circle at the end of an elephant's trunk. Okay, so here's the two legs. How cute is this guy? Also love him. Toes go like that. And then you still have the bum, sort of the bum and the tummy. You know how elephants have the big tummies and bums. And so I just do simple coming out, a little bit of a knee joint again. And then this, because it's perspective, this leg would finish earlier, yes? Right? Because we're looking at it from the front. And then same on this side. And it can be, you can make it slightly not so symmetrical, because again the feet might not and the legs might not stand exactly the same way. But this is effectively the design. Cute. So cute. They're so cute with their, I don't know, how they stand. So all I can say is cute. Sorry, that's all coming out now. And then here at the top, I put a little bit of a back hump. That's kind of the back that you see coming through. And it's just a particular pose, so not all photos you'll see of elephants you'll see this. If their head is a little higher up, you might not see the back. In this case, I'm saying we're seeing the back. Okay, and then the detail. So let's bring in a bit more detail now. So here the eye tends to sit here-ish and here-ish, here. And then here the tusks come out of this, go like that. You can have short tusks, you can have long tusks, do what you want to do. You could even do a little tail. I haven't done a tail, but I thought it would be so cute, but I think you wouldn't see it. You know, the tail would be sitting sort of here behind it, but I thought for the sake of cuteness, but it's not kind of not correct unless it's very long, but they're very short, their tails, you see. Okay, so there we've got the eye, and then let's just erase some of the guidelines so we get a little bit more of a kind of a clearer drawing, and we can shape the lines up a little bit because they're a little bit squarish at the moment, and the elephant is more round, you know, it has more curved lines than very sharp lines. So this can go, and this can go. And then we'll shapen up, is that it? Shape up the eye, shapen up, I said. That's a funny way of saying it. Shape up the eye. Is it? Do. I don't wanna fall another moment into your gravity. That song, I'm listening to it over and over. I think it's so beautiful. Very sad though. I think it's making me really sad. It's really confusing because I've got this song and I think, oh, it's so heartbreakingly beautiful. Let's listen to it 1,000 times. And suddenly I find myself deeply sad. I'm like, what is that? Well, maybe because you listen to this song, you know, Tim, way too much. Okay. This bump could maybe a little bit less. Okay. And then eye-wise, all I do for the eyes of elephants is not this. I mean, somewhat do that, but I do one flat oval. Okay, flattish, sideways. And then they have very pronounced eyelashes and eyelids often. And the eyelashes are so pronounced, you sometimes see them like, you know, on photos. If you see close-ups, you see very, very hairy eyelids. I love it. And then this is a very girly, because you do the eyelids so strong, it looks like a girl straight away, you know, like as if it's got mascara on. An elephant with mascara. That's what we should title this session. An elephant with mascara. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Here is the design of the very, very cute elephant. Look at that. Oh. I just want to hug it, don't you think? So sweet, so kind. I know that elephants can also be aggressive, by the way. But most of the time they come across as these sort of lovable, gentle giants, don't they? Okay. Right, so this is how I would design it freehand. And then, what I like doing later on is, and also actually in some countries, in festivals, they decorate the elephants as well with paint. But I like to do it only on paper. So we can add some symbols that we maybe find soothing and calming. I don't know why I did that. This was meant to be a moon. You know, and just have some decorations. I love doing the butterfly wings. Maybe we do that, or a little crown. You know, we can do symbols that we find fun and helpful. And you can do loads with the ears. But the style. Oh yeah, I was going to say this. The style of painting today is going to be watercolor expressive. So I'm going to be splashing around with paint. Some of you are very familiar with my work and will have maybe done the Quirky Bird a couple of summits ago, and that's also watercolor, but it's a slightly different style. This is a slightly more realistic, and I'm doing kind of just wild and wacky watercolor. Love that, wild and wacky watercolor. Hey, nice alliteration and a good title. Wild and wacky watercolor, and a little bit of these symbols here and there probably. We'll see how we go, but not as much as I might do on a Quirky Bird. Okay, so that's the design, the drawing. And hope that's okay. Once again, if you'd rather not draw freehand, there is a traceable available. Okay, so before we start the painting process, I'd like us to take 3 minutes or so to ground into the present moment and into our now, into our here now, and trying to not get too caught up in all the busy thoughts, the busy thinky thoughts. And the best way I know how to do this is by focusing on your breathing and just being really present to your body and your breathing and any sort of sensations that are right here in this moment with you right now. So I will play a bit of meditation music here in just a moment, and I'd like you to just for yourself, I won't do a guided meditation, but just like you to for yourself to just breathe deeply, go really into your body, really focus on the now, do some meditation on, and really stick with it, like try to hone yourself and call yourself back to your body, ground into the here, ground into the now, ground into your body, and just be like that for a couple of minutes or so. And maybe do some affirmations inside your head or send some good wishes into the world, but try and stay within yourself. Excuse me. Do a mantra of some sort, but try to stay with yourself in this moment and just let yourself breathe and be as present as you can to your inner experiences for about 3 minutes or so. And then once you've done that, we'll come back and start the painting process. Okay, so welcome back from that moment of grounding. And as we go into the painting process, try and keep that grounded sense of being here now with you as you paint your elephant and muse on, staying here and as close to yourself as possible so that you can be your best self for the world and the things you can't control. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so this is a voiceover time here. Hello. I will be doing a little bit of a voiceover while this is being time-lapsed. Done 4 times the speed in case you're interested. So when I create a painting like this, I start off by using light washes of the colors that I want to use. In this case, I'm starting with some light pinks and some sort of yellowy orange colors. And as you could see there, I was splattering straight away as well. So I love making these expressive watercolor portraits of animals with lots of kind of movement and vibrancy and aliveness. And splatters can really demonstrate or symbolize that. So it's a playful, expressive, like I said earlier, a wild and wacky watercolor experience. And I work wet in wet with colors that are not opposite each other on the color wheel. So pink and yellow can merge together fine. They'll just turn into another kind of color like an orange. As you can see here, I'm letting paints seep into or bleed into each other, as I love the effect of that too. And so I'm first starting to work with the pinks and the yellows and the oranges. And soon I'll be bringing in some blues as well. Now, blue and orange are opposite each other on the color wheel, so they don't mix that well. But it's okay if you have some neutral tones coming through. That can sometimes help and be helpful to just kind of really help vibrant colors stand out. But yeah, you want to be careful not to mix them too much. Now, here I am, let's see what I'm doing. So I'm adding in some of the trunk lines, line work, and I'm still working with, watercolor. Now, something you need to understand about watercolor is that the vibrancy fades as it dries. So if you want to keep your vibrancy, you'll have to add some additional layers or not dilute your watercolor with as much water. Alright, so here I've started to add the blues to help with that sort of calming sense, and it adds some nice contrast here. So we're kind of working, like I said, in this sort of semi-triadic color scheme. It's kind of a little bit triadic, a little bit semi-split complementary, but it's basically whichever one I've got there. It's a kind of vibrant, fairly vibrant and lively color scheme, which I love. So as they're working on the legs fairly precisely, and I'm also bringing some of the blue, not a lot of the blue, but some of the blue into the ears and the face as well, so that that color isn't only in the body but also in the ears and the face. But the face will mostly, and the trunk will mostly be oranges and pinks and yellows. Okay, and again you can see me splatter there. And you see here I'm re-adding that orange because it had faded quite a bit. And that continues to happen. So depending on how vibrant you want your painting to be, you'll need to add, a couple of layers to get vibrancy in there. Some people prefer sort of more faded paintings. So it all depends on your personal preference. Like I said previously, I really love color and vibrancy, so I know that I tend to put definitely a couple of layers on so that I keep that beautiful intensity of color. But again, that's a personal preference, so see how you go. Okay, so here I'm kind of just playing around with mixing up different colors. I'm using that orange yellow and orange pinks as well, and now I'm back to the body, so I'm just starting to add some blue in the front legs here as well. This is a little bit more precise work. The rest of the body and the ears just leave a lot of as such, they're so large, so you really get a lot of space for playing, which is fun, while the legs are a little bit more precise, filling in, if you will. So with the this leg here, what I did was I actually added a bit of pink over that blue, which gave it more of a purpley, slightly purple color, maybe a blue-violet eventually. And I just really liked that. I can't really tell you, any kind of technical reason why I did that. It was more of a, oh, that looks pretty, let's do that. That's often how it works for me. Intuitively responding to what happens on the page. And there we go. Here we have to do the same on the other leg. I think I was trying to just get some shadow in there as well, a little bit of a variety of color and shadow and shading, so it had some 3D-ness to it. And look how the top, I love the lots of the colors in the ears there. It really makes me happy looking at it. So pretty, so vibrant. Okay, I decided to make the eye socket area. So elephants have very pronounced eye sockets, so like a darker area, so that that's both shading, but also so that we get to see that area a little bit more in a little bit more pronounced way. And then back to the ears again. So I'm kind of now adding darks, more and more darks in, just to get the shape of the kind of the head coming forward a little bit versus the ears being slightly more. And to the back moving, sort of receding into the background. Not in the background entirely, but that the face pops a little bit forward. And then here I'm trying to put some shading on the elephant's trunk, as well as reinforcing those very obvious trunk groove lines. As you can see there, they're already fading again. Oh no, it was just how the light fell, actually. There we go. And so I'm doing a little bit of work around the eyes here to deepen the shading, get some more shape in there. Yeah, and I do, by the way, let everything dry in and between layers. Use my hairdryer to help with that. There we go. Okay, so here I'm working on the tusks, which I put a little bit of shadow on, as you can see, while leaving most of it white. And here I'm actually adding some blues on the side of the face to kind of bring some shadow in. And like I said previously, that is a little bit of a quote-unquote dangerous thing in the sense that blues and oranges don't mix so well. They make a neutral tone, a bit of a muddy tone. But I think it works okay here. So people are often scared of muddy tones, but you know, they can really help enhance any kind of colors. Vibrant colors pop more when they're next to a neutral tone. So it's not too bad here. Okay, and now I'm using a Posca pen to bring in like all the little details and line work. That is something I enjoy doing. You don't need to do that. It's just something I like. And I'm really just kind of outlining, but in a very sketchy, scribbly way, outlining the design and drawing things like the pupils or the irises earlier, and just any kind of line work that I want in there. I'll also be using this pen for drawing the little symbols on the face of the elephant soon. And I'll also be using a white pen like this to bring in some highlights in the eyes and things like that. And this pen is an acrylics pen, and it's really great for drawing over watercolor paint. It works really well. And yeah, it's helpful for drawing doodles and things like that. Now I'm deepening a bit more of the shading around the eye socket with some more of the blue. I think let's see what I do next. I can't remember. When you do a voiceover, it's always hard to remember exactly what you did. Right, here I'm putting some white. This is a white Posca pen, and I'm putting some I want to do some highlights there on the eyes and in the irises. And I'm kind of fading out that shading a little bit there, and bringing some darker spots in the top there as well. So as you can see, really the overall approach to a painting like this for me is that you start with light washes and then you bring darker parts. So you add layering, you add layers and layers and layers where you feel like you need darker parts. So here it is layering again on the legs as well. And oh yeah, never forget to draw the toesies. They're so cute. And then I'm making the toes white with a Posca pen again, or this is Artistro, an acrylics paint marker. And oh yeah, and then the pen wasn't working so well, so I ended up using some white acrylics inks for this. Acrylics inks can be really combined with watercolor paints. It's hard. The only thing you can't really do is put watercolor over it again. So I tend to use it as a later stage if I combine the two mediums. But it's really helpful sometimes to use acrylic inks. Really, sometimes I use it to fix something or to deepen a color, because acrylics won't fade. Well, it depends on how much water you add, but it doesn't tend to fade similar to watercolor paint. So sometimes if I really want to keep intensity and the watercolor isn't doing it for me, I will use some acrylic inks. In this case, I'm just using the white, but sometimes I use like really vibrant magenta or something. So that's really great combination. I love the combo of watercolor with acrylic inks. That can really work well. Now, and then just using the white there to kind of put some highlights on the trunk and messing around a bit with it, bringing it back with, and then I think, oh, too light, too dark, you know. So playing around with lights and darks, and then I wanted a little bit more shading on the head, so bringing that pink back in. I think we're nearly there now. We're coming to finalizing this painting soon. More shading again. You see how many layers I go through? There's a lot of layering in these kinds of paintings. I think, yeah, that's what I was trying to... At this point I thought I needed some more shading on the trunk, but then I think I regret it. I can't remember now. Let's see what I do. Voiceovering is always kind of funny. I think I'd do it, but then feel like it wasn't too intense. So I think I muted back a little bit. I kept the blue, but I think I muted back a little bit later. Oh yeah, doodle time. So doodles can be really nice to do. They can be meditative and meaningful. I love adding doodles for, putting in doodles that are meaningful to me and relevant to whatever issue I'm working on in the moment. Often my doodles are hearts and stars and butterfly wings and crowns, and I tend to bring back the same doodles, which also helps with style development if that's something you're interested in. But doodles are not necessarily part of a painting and don't have to. You could have left it without any doodles. It's just something I really enjoy doing as a final additional step to my paintings, often, not always, but often. And so that's an option for you as well. And here I'm adding even more shading with the actual Posca pen there on the body, and a little bit more line work. And I think I just continue on faffing. Again, I never know if this is a term used in other countries other than the UK, but it means playing around, or faffing, and adding and changing and adding and changing and trying bits until I'm happy, until I'm ready. So here's the final couple of doodles. I have a hanging star coming off the ear, which I love. So sweet. And then a bit more line work around the toes. And then what I do this time is I add some words here as well. I think I write "be here now" as a reminder to myself beside the elephant in just a moment. A few more highlights, little decorations. Look how sparkly it makes it. I love adding white little sparkles to darker parts in a painting. It often really lights up and adds some kind of really interesting effects, I have to say. Little dots and little sparkly details, doodles, really livens up that face, I think. And again, this is optional, but I often really like doing that, and just love how it comes out. Oh, sparkles. Oh, little sparkles. Oh yeah, and then a little decoration on the leg, like a little tattoo, or impression of a tattoo. That's nice there. Alright, be here now. An important message to get. Don't have to add any words, but it can be helpful. And I think I'm pretty much there. Oh yeah, there I'm just adjusting that bit of blue there. I found it a bit too stark, so I'm muting that back a little bit. And then we're nearly there now. There we go. That's lovely. I think I'm replacing that dark blue with a bit more darker pink, as I felt that the blue was a little too harsh. There we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed this session with me today. Tamara Laporte from Willowing Arts. And if you do enjoy it, please do come and check out my free gift. Come join us on the Kaleidoscope Taste Week. We're working with a lot of colour. It's very fun. And of course, I'd love to see you online in all my social media spaces as well. I'm willowing in most places. I hope to connect with you there. And here is the final painting. I'm so happy with how it came out. It's so lovely and colourful. I hope you loved creating your own elephant too. And I can't wait to see what you do. Please tag me in the Facebook group when you post your beautiful elephant. And I hope to see you again soon. Much love. Bye bye.